This week, we travel into America's heartland to the dynamic town of Emporia, Kansas. Here sits an enormous and technical course, a challenge unlike any on tour, one that reflects the volatile nature of spring on the prairie.
A tornado watch.
Oh no.
Brutal roll from the wind. Oh my goodness.
These are hilarious shots to me.
Wow. I love this. Look at this bounce.
Anti-skip. Oh, that guy was getting beamed.
And it'll certainly be windy, but how windy?
And at Champions Landing, this unpredictability leads to opportunity. In Emporia, no lead is safe. It's time for players to find the perfect line on the winds of the Cyclone State. The 2024 Dynamic Disc Open starts now.
Hello and welcome to the first round of the 2024 Dynamic Disc Open, although this is a formal petition to change it to the Cyclone State Open.
Yeah.
I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hockeys.
Honk.
I will sign that petition if that's not clear.
Yeah. We're almost halfway through the season. Whoa. We're about to go way across the country, but this is the last one on the east half of the country. And we had a nice sunny day.
Yeah, sunny, little windy as it tends to be, but nothing too crazy today. We are watching defending champion and two-time winner of this event, Hailey King. Birdie rate of 2024 is at 22%, 52% Circle 2 in regulation, and 75% C1X putting.
Raven Klein, the Dynamic Disc team representation today, 19% of the time she's birdieing so far in 2024. 48% of the time she's finding herself in Circle 2 for birdie and making 68% of her Circle 1X putting.
Miss Missy Gannon birdieing 30% of the holes this season, landing in the fairway 59% of the time. And Circle 2 in regulation 77% of the time. That's crazy.
And last but not least, Scoggins. You guys know her. 2024 so far, she's birdieing 35% of the holes.
Wow.
57% of the time she's putting from Circle 2 for birdie, and 79% of the time she's making her Circle 1X putts. Let's start with hole 1. It's 999 feet with a road all the way down the right-hand side that's out of bounds and a string line all the way down the left-hand side that wraps around behind the basket. This is a really long par 5, and it played even longer today because we had a ripping headwind. Also just those hole 1 nerves. There's a green right there on the left that's out of bounds, but most people aren't really going to find it unless they're going for eagle. Look at that wind in the preview.
Good morning and welcome to beautiful Emporia, Kansas. Champions Landing, the 2024 Dynamic Disc Open presented by Dynamic Disc. This is our final feature card of the FPO division. First up from Los Angeles, California, Scoggins.
Hope you enjoyed that build-up.
In practice, we had a lot of left to right or right to left wind, but we did not have direct headwind.
Makes this hole difficult. The way that the fairway is kind of sloped gently from right to left, you see a lot of the backhand drives skip OB. So I like the sidearm on this one, though this is definitely more right than you want. It's fine though, past that big tree.
On the tee from Beacon, New York, Missy Gannon.
The morning started out a little chilly in the late 50s, but it warmed up all day long.
Missy has podiumed once at this event, but never won it yet.
It's super
nice.
aggressive line off the tee. We love to see it.
Yep, just aim right for the spotter. They're usually standing in a good spot.
On the tee from Charlotte, North Carolina, Hailey King.
Hailey won in, I want to say 2021, and as well as last year in a playoff against Holland Hanley.
Oh, imagine being a 3-time here at the DDO. You can see why. Look how far she can throw.
Is she 3? I thought she was 2.
If she could be a 3-time.
If she could. Oh, imagine. Imagine.
Burnsville, Minnesota, Raven Klein.
Raven representing Team Dynamic Disc, the sponsor of this event, longtime sponsor of this longtime event.
Yeah, I believe this has been an event for something like, 9 years? Let me check here. Yeah, 9 as an elite series. Thanks, Stat Mando, for all the great stats.
And
Ladies, have a great round.
before Dynamic Disc Open, this was GBO, or the Glass Blown Open, with the legendary blown glass trophies that we love.
This is terrible.
But what an out.
Yeah.
It's going to
So
be tough
dense.
to recover even a par at this point.
Can she even get out of there? Like, physically? Is
She lives there now.
It's her little home.
It was another orange disc.
Oh,
Did you find someone
it's not
else?
even her disc.
Uh-oh.
Mine now. That's a fun start.
What are the chances?
Wait a second. So
she
it's a
played-
misplay because it's not her disc. Whoa. She literally said, what a start, too.
That's a, yeah. Yep.
What are the chances there's a...
So low. Almost 0. Oh, Raven, no.
That is so brutal.
Just wildly unfortunate. Like, why would you think there's another
I
disc
don't know. I
in
want to
there?
say we've all been there, but no one's ever been there. That is insane.
Intentional?
No.
Okay.
A thrower that checks up and is
It's,
safe.
great.
Yeah, great distance.
Maybe some nerves here from Raven. Oh.
Just a little shooken up.
Shook. Owen going back-to-back forehands here. If you can get to the top of the hill and see the pin, you can attack. If you leave it a little short on the second and it's a blind shot, it can be pretty difficult to get all the way there.
Missy with huge distance off the tee and huge distance on the second shot, clearing the hill and on the other side.
Hailey with a sweet Spider-Man shirt today. Gonna sling some really impressive shots out there. And that looks great. Raven, now pinched on the right side, throws a really low sidearm, gets a cut roll. Owns third. She can get there, but it's pretty close to max distance, and she definitely overturns this one. Kind of a rough start for our feature card ladies.
Goodness, yeah, this headwind is getting the best of everyone. That bush saves Own from going out of bounds.
As Madison said, we're not really used to playing this one in a headwind. I would say most frequently it's a right to left crosswind, and that's kind of what you're used to. So really difficult to get the entire 1,000 feet.
And it
in
was
headwind.
sometimes gusting,
Yeah.
20, 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, sustained, 10, 15?
Yep.
With some fun gusts. Hailey's third gets into circle 2.
The green was especially windy, so you wanted to make sure to nestle this approach really close. Raven coming in high and just dealing with those shrubs on the right side.
She'll have to make sure it's her disc this time. This is a really rough start for Raven. I like to see her leaning on the forearm. Yep. The forehand, it's not her predominant play, but she definitely is improving at it. It's hard to trust it in the high winds out here in Emporia, though.
Missy just laying up.
Yeah, par's fine here, especially today.
Yeah, that will gain strokes on the field.
Let's see.
It
Hailey laying it up as well.
It averaged at 3/4 of a stroke over par today, with 58% of the field with a bogey or worse. 42% of the field with a par.
I'm curious if that'll change. I think the wind is supposed
yeah.
to be a different direction tomorrow.
It's a tough birdie even in calm conditions, but it's very gettable by everybody, distance-wise.
Raven looking at 8, gives it a bid.
There were no birdies in the field today on hole 1. I think that's
Oh,
going to be...
ouch.
Yeah, that's going to be the only time that happens. Looks like only one person got to circle 1 in regulation. 11 people out of 39 competitors got to circle 2.
39? Oh, there must
Was
be
there
a card
39?
without stats. There
Oh.
was 43 competitors today, which is a little bit low. Everyone's a little tired. We're heading out to the West Coast. Not a bad one to skip logistically, but we are missing some heavy hitters. We're missing Kristen, Paige, Evelina, Henna, Ella.
Yep. A lot of the Europeans went home finally. We know they were missing home big time. It was a long stretch here at the beginning with 2 majors.
Yeah.
And we're going to start out everyone even par at best through hole 1.
Hole 2 is a par 4, 582 feet. This out of bounds on the left side really comes into play if you choose backhand off the tee. You usually see a lot of flex shots. Oh my gosh, I'm really doing well today. Through those 2 trees or a sidearm off the tee. If you can get past those 2 trees, it's really not that far to get to the pin on the second, but it is uphill, and there's one just massive bush thing that will destroy you if you find it on the right side. That OB really is kind of in the landing zone on the backhand drive, so you see a lot of shots like this that are just kind of heavily pulled to the right because that's the better mistake to make.
If you have it, sidearm is a great play off the tee. You don't have to get a ton of distance, but you do have to get it pretty far if you're playing for birdie.
Yeah, just past the trees is usually enough. Hailey definitely has the distance. She's sitting pretty good.
Own flexing one right at OB.
Not a bad wind, especially for the sidearm. Mostly right to left here. Own catches that last tree, drops a little short.
Raven with a really nice smooth backhand right up the middle, finishing out. Unfortunately, that landing zone where Raven was pretty muddy. The footing can be tough in there. We had a lot of rain this week in Emporia, just like last week in Peoria.
We're pretty lucky it's sunny today. It did not look very good in the forecasts. Own gets all the way inside the circle, going back-to-back forehands.
Missy tucked really far on the right-hand side. She's got to throw an Annie around that huge bush of doom. It's blind, and she's going to be outside of circle 2.
It just doesn't really feel worth it to push that thing. It's so dense.
Raven pushes it, though, a little, but doesn't have the turn on it. It was really tough to get this to turn and hold with that right to left wind here.
Hailey set up nicely for the sidearm.
One of the few that has that good distance, because even though it doesn't quite look it, it's pretty uphill from where Hailey was to the basket.
Missy gives it a nice little run from outside circle 2. Oh, good bid. I'm hoping to see Raven drop one of those. She is good from circle 2.
Yeah, and it would have been a great bounce back from the rough stuff on hole 1. Oh my goodness.
Own catches a couple of right side chains, drops in for a birdie.
That had no right to stick.
I'm happy for her.
Me too.
How many spit outs, have we all had? You occasionally deserve one that shouldn't stick.
Par is fine on this one. It averaged just a little bit over through the field. There were 7 birdies on the day.
I liked this one before when it was short tee pad, longer basket.
Me too.
Up the hill. But, no one asked what I want.
So So this little stretch right here, starting on hole 2, is where you really do want to try to stack up as many birdies as you can. It's reachable by everyone in the field. These are kind of the easier holes today. The wind is pretty well blocked. It's not terrible on these corner holes, especially this par 3. It's downhill. 466, or sorry, hole 3 at 466 feet. It's a very easy par 4, super downhill. You can almost get to circle 2 from the tee pad if you're feeling spicy and want to really go for it. We had a right to left wind that did make it difficult to throw that aggressive backhand shot that can get there. A lot of people going to throw sidearm here around this big tree on the left.
Nice smooth looking shot from Hailey. I'm waiting for the eagle. We're going to see it at some point.
I think
Have we seen
will.
it?
With an aggressive backhand? I don't remember, but I feel like the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Probable stats with the 2 hotkeys.
You love it. This is definitely that highest percentage play to get the birdie and to just avoid hitting the trees off the tee. I feel like a lot of people used to go backhand flex down the middle, kind of what we're seeing here from Missy. But I'm also starting to see like a hyzer out to the right on the backhand, which is interesting.
The wind was good for it today. I think that's why maybe we saw some extra today. This played as the easiest hole. It usually does.
It feels terrible to par this thing. Raven going right side, catches that last branch and a very aggressive kick. The thing is, though, is you can still save birdie from here, which is why it's just a classic tweener. Ooh.
The hovercraft play.
Sweet. Good recovery from Raven.
This green was also a little bit boggy.
Yeah, there's like a casual bog relief area.
Owen putting it well inside the bullseye for birdie.
Wow, Hailey super far, just left with this little chip. No problem. Mando made a really good joke on their little data sheet that they send to me in Madison and asks if Hailey King can go back to back to back, and is it the return of the king?
For all you Lord of the Rings nerds out
Yeah,
there.
I guess it's not really back to back, but in 2022 it was technically Worlds, so yeah, I feel like we're splitting hairs. Raven hits band on her attempt to save birdie.
Missy was down there with an eagle putt, but just chooses to lay up. This green can get a little finicky. And no one's going to complain about a tap-in birdie. 63% of the field taking a 3 on this one.
As Madison said, it is important to get a few of these early. The back nine is treacherous, and you definitely want to pad your score a little bit on these easy ones.
Treacherous and always exposed to what, even, it doesn't matter what the wind is, you can just feel it on the back nine.
Yeah, you can.
Times 10.
Hailey with back-to-back birdies leading the field alongside Emily Beach.
Yeah, baby, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Your Dynamic Disc Open champion, Parker Wells.
Hole 4 is a par 4, 598 feet. They really tightened the OB on this left side. It used to be out all the way on that cart path over there. Now it's a really tight backhand turnover or a sidearm. Most people are going to land kind of in that ditch area that is casual or just past it with a really good shot. The approach shot is interesting. You're going over the hill of this green and the OB wraps around to the right and tight behind the basket. It's usually a mid-range or maybe a fairway driver backhand on the second shot. Wind was right to left.
Yep. Hailey with a great sidearm, so kind of surprised to see her go this aggressive backhand route.
So
And
aggressive.
She's going to trickle OB. She's far enough down where she will absolutely be able to save a par from there. It'll just be blind.
You don't really need to go that far on the tee shot, though, to get the birdie. I'm surprised she didn't go sidearm either.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, yeah.
That was rude.
Kind of pays for that putt.
Yeah. Course giveth, course taketh.
Yeah. Going to be harder to save the par from there for Own, but it is possible. Let's see if Missy can get enough turn on this thing. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it
And
is.
with the distance to get over that little bog that runs through the middle, she'll have a clean run up on her approach as well. Raven wrapping the corner a little more tightly. I like this play. It does bring this right side tree into play, but that's good.
Yeah, it was a Royal Grand Grace from Raven, and I would say that shot's kind of her bread and butter. That flex shot with a stable disc.
The basket is just to the right of that advertisement wall over that hill. You have to push this right side just like Own is doing. Wind helps carry it back, and look at her. She's in the bullseye.
That's a great save. This shot is awkward because it looks like it's just past that hill, but realistically the top of that hill is just outside circle 2. So you always got to give it just a little bit more than you think. Raven does, and is actually a little bit deep there. Yeah, they tightened this. I mean, that's like over 100 feet that they pulled the line in. It wasn't like this last year, was it?
No. It's pulled in so much. You used to be able to throw almost kind of a dummy backhand and not have to worry about going out of bounds at all.
It made the second shot harder, so it was still better to land where these ladies are landing now, but
Missy gets tangled up, but those trees are inside the circle. She drops down nicely.
Raven looks like she's dealing with those branches. Gonna do a little jumper. Yeah, branches definitely in the way there.
Hole 4 was in the middle of the pack, averaged almost exactly at even par.
I think if that out of bounds line was farther left like we've seen it in the past, it would average under. I don't mind the change too much, but yeah, it's a little tighter than it needs to be. Hailey with another, oh no, that was a par save with the OB.
A quarter of the field birding this one, half the field parring, and a quarter with a bogey or worse. So really nice scoring spread. It is a very tight OB line, but honestly, out of all the changes they make on the FPO courses this year, that's not a terrible
It's
one.
not. No,
Yeah.
it's not. And I don't mind having to throw a forehand to be safe or choosing the riskier backhand.
Yeah, this course could use a few more forehands, I think. I like that they're forcing that a little more often.
Great par saves from Hailey and Own, who were OB off the tee. Missy not capitalizing on that birdie opportunity. Got a few more ladies at 2 under through 4 here.
Moving on to another par 4 out of bounds all the way down this right side with the cart path. There's OB that picks up on the left-hand side in that more dirt type area. This cart path that extends through the middle is not out of bounds. It's just there as a little decoration. There's some trees on the left side of the green here that you have to navigate around. The OB cart path is inside the circle on the right side of the basket, only about 20 feet. So make sure that you get left. We're going to check in real quick with Holland Hanley on the second feature card.
Holland losing that playoff to Hailey, got second place last year, and I believe at Worlds the year before got third place, so she plays well out here. That's a strong sidearm.
Yeah, this caters well to people with distance sidearm and backhand, and she's really good at finding the center fairway.
She's going to leave it short in circle 2, but check it
Wow.
out.
That's one way to do it.
And that looks like 4 in a row for Holland.
That's what you want from 2 through 5. That is what you want. This average is the second easiest hole of the day. Hailey with a more aggressive route, riding that out of bounds line. And she's good for it.
Landing near the cart path to nowhere. Own also opting for a backhand here. That's looking great. Another one at 523 where you don't have to get a ton of distance off the tee to birdie. Missy pushing that cart path. OB skips over it at the very end, and she's going to land safe.
Both of those were kind of risky shots with that left to right wind, but they are good for it.
Ooh, Ravens with maybe too much turn. It needs some ground play. Does not get it. She's going to have to take it back, at least 50 feet or so. Let's see if she can get this thing close for a par save.
Right as you get to this part of the fairway, that left to right crosswind kind of feels sometimes a little bit more headwindy. It wasn't, I wouldn't call it swirly out here today, but you definitely couldn't feel the wind in certain spots, and then you'd move a little and you could feel it.
Or it would feel, one direction, and then you're like, oh, actually up here, it's a headwind kind of a thing.
The hills just really moving the wind. Own pushing the OB line, but she'll be inside the circle.
That's cyclone state, man. It'll get you. Looks pretty calm, though, on the green right now, which is always deceiving when you're watching coverage. It was windy all day. Missy going to be pretty close there for a birdie. Man, Hailey with a massive drive.
Fluffing the approach just a little, but she is inside the circle.
Classic Hailey.
Yep. Half the field birdied this one. Like Erika said, this is one that doesn't feel great to get a par on.
Raven, unable to save par, finds cage again on the circle 2 bid.
Hailey just laying up.
See if Own can make good on her birdie here. You know it.
There were 20 birdies today out of 43 competitors. This hole averaging a third of a stroke under par. This hole does always average fairly simple, especially on calm days, but on the windy days, it is so brutal. This green can be insane. It's like kind of a legendary green, both this one and the MPO that's a little bit further.
Yeah, a few of those kind of wind bounces and rolls that we saw in that opening intro, which was very cool, are from this hole.
Yep.
I believe Own is our highest rated FPO here and the highest in DGPT standings currently.
Ooh.
Which is, it's fun, just a fun statistic to know about.
Besides Kristen?
Well, Kristen's not here.
Oh, just at this tournament.
Yeah,
Got it.
Evelyn isn't first and Kristen isn't second.
Wow.
Own's in third in DGPT standings. Hole 6 is a par 3. It's only 300 feet, but deceptively hard. OB on the left-hand side the entire way. It's also on the right, but it's farther over there. It's harder to find. It does wrap behind this slightly elevated basket that's on this little stump here. It was, let's see, what was it? Crosswind? It was same as the last one. What is it?
Left to right.
Left to right? Thank you. Not my strong suit. So this one was kind of nice if you just threw kind of a moderately stable disc on a flex shot. And, oh, man, the wind kind of helped carry it over. And then usually it'll fade out of it, but it owns over. Is she in bounds?
She really rode the line all the way down the right-hand side, but I think she did trickle back in at the very end.
Missy keeping it nice and linear, low under the wind. With she went a Zeus on that one, not her usual thrasher. That looks like a slow speed disc. Hailey really yanks over on it, releases late, and catches that early tree.
Trying to rip something overstable is a pretty classic play here. Fighting the wind and not messing around with the OB that's on the left-hand side and that tree line. Raven with a great drive to circle 1. I always joke that this hole is, at 300 feet, par 3, that it's a 2-shot hole.
Yeah.
You throw as hard as you can and with like a headwind.
Oh,
and then,
circle 2.
Yep. And then you lay up on the elevated basket.
It's a risky one to run.
It sure is. You see a lot of 2 and 3 putts on this hole. Owen's not scared, though.
Wow. Hailey left her upshot short. Own goes deep on her putt there. Left to right Hailey wind. Hailey from 42 feet.
Another layup. Missy Gannon lining it up from just inside the circle. Opts to lay it up as well.
Range miss from her. Feeling saucy in the booth over here.
Just roasting everyone. This hole is so hard. And I'm trying to make light of it. But
it's weirdly hard.
And look at Raven.
That's a good one to get.
Heck yeah.
I bet not that many people got it.
I'm surprised 13 people got it.
Okay.
That's very surprising to me.
It's like the hardest 300-foot hole you'll ever play. It's very strange.
Mm-hmm. Owen with a great comeback putt to save par. Yeah, I feel eagerly whenever I get this one in.
Eagerly.
Missy with some work.
Committed putt.
Yeah, unfortunately going to find the band and have to settle for a bogey.
Hailey also with the bogey there.
Yeah, 14 people got to circle one in
Nice.
regulation. Nice.
Maybe it's just us.
Yep.
Oh, that's
gotta
a
be.
sweet little trick.
Hailey has a lot of sweet tricks.
Is that a compliment?
I almost
You must
followed
feel bad because she bogeyed.
I almost followed it up with especially laying up.
Lucky
For
Lorenzen and Holland Hanley leading the way at 3 down.
For those of you that don't tune in often, we love roasting Hailey King in the booth here. Hole 7, out of bounds all the way down the right and left hand side. The tricky part is the tee shot here, though. It's a low ceiling and it's a very narrow gap. You have to get it to carry straight, but not too straight. You want it to hyzer to the left, setting you up for a second shot. Today, I found myself having to reach for a distance driver, but a lot of times players are able to throw fairways or even mid-range around this big, giant guardian tree. You see a lot of players hitting those branches and dropping down with a circle 2 putt, but this one is another very birdieable hole if you get off the tee.
It's an intimidating tee shot, though. And that out of bounds is kind of right in the landing zone, as we see from Raven. It was an unfortunate skip, though.
That was so rude.
Oh, this is interesting. Owen's going to go out and around with a sidearm. I have not seen this.
I did this in practice, and it it works if you throw over stable discs, but it's just wasn't great with the wind today.
And you're not going to get a ton of distance,
No.
generally. Missy, I think it's a skip off the cart path there. Going to end up shorter than you want. I think birdie's still in play, though.
Hailey going
Oh, yeah.
big distance here.
Huge shot. Nice.
Man, the fact that she's pushing that. Oh, yeah, they added new out of bounds this year. I forgot to mention in the flyover, it's a little river, quote unquote, that runs through the middle.
A river runs through it, you could say.
It sure does. And Hailey almost finds it on her drive, which is unreal.
Yeah, I feel like that OB is mostly there for the MPO
Yep.
on their drives, which is kind of mean.
It is, but it's not really in play usually for FPO.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's kind of just happens to be there. Raven having to take it pretty far back gives us a nice little flex shot and gets inside the circle looking at a par save.
She's recovering really well, even with the rough start. Mentally, that's hard to bounce back from.
It is, and she's really good at those flex shots.
Missy a little tucked more in the trees than you want, but she makes good, and she's just outside the bullseye for her birdie.
Great shot. Hailey going sidearm here. Yeah. Smooth looking shot.
Owen with a long look for birdie. This hole was in the middle of the pack on difficulty. Raven, one of only 5 birdies.
Par save.
Oh, I forgot
the
about the
OB.
OB.
Really
It
great
was
par
basically
save.
a birdie.
Yeah, it felt like a birdie to me too. Hailey for birdie. Real birdie.
I I'm kind of surprised to see only 5 birdies on this hole today. Only 9 people got to circle 1 in regulation. 22 got to circle 2, so a lot of circle 2 looks.
Missy cashes in on the birdie. Yeah, circle 2 feels pretty typical. It just feels pretty intimidating to go big off the tee. I think we've only had this change for, what, maybe 2 years, where we go from this farther tee pad?
I think 3, but
Is
yeah.
it 3? Okay.
And somehow it keeps getting smaller.
Yeah, isn't that weird? It's like they keep growing.
Looks like 3 down is good enough right now to lead the field. Lisa Fakis and Lucky Lorenzen.
Hole 8, a pretty infamous par 5, 886 feet, OB everywhere. Cart path right, string line on the left. You can see that kind of tall grass delineating the OB there. First shot, you see anything from a putter all the way to a distance driver, you just decide how aggressive you want to be. If you can get your second shot to the top of that hill we passed or just past it, you're looking at a birdie attempt. It is a really challenging third shot, though, to get all the way there to try to birdie this thing. Most ladies going to be really happy with a par. It was a pretty difficult, what felt like right to left wind, but it kind of shifted into a headwind at times on this hole. You can see the wind kind of pushing Missy's towards that OB line on the left, which I would say is the most common mistake.
Ooh, this spotter's flag's looking like it's ripping right to left, but like Erika said, once you got up and over the hill on your second shot, it did feel more like a headwind.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hard to keep your disc in bounds. Raven, with kind of the classic mistake here, not putting it far enough out to the right. Owen putting it way out right, but giving it a lot of height.
I like that.
Oh, yeah, nice spike.
Spikes in. She likes it too. Hailey looks like she's going huge. I was thinking that was a little bit slower speed disc too. And it's going to be just OB. From back here, Missy, it's going to be hard to get all the way over that hill without being wildly aggressive, which she is doing. Wildly.
And it does not have enough speed to skip back in. She's going to have to take it a little far back.
Yeah, I was traversing OB for a while there.
Owen gets some nice left movement right out of her hand, right in the middle at the top of the hill.
With the right to left wind, I really like the sidearm on the second and third shots today.
Raven throwing 3, just trying to get up and over the hill. This is a very aggressive and very turned. Yes.
Raven getting a good break. Finally. Feels like they've all been bad.
Yes.
One of those days. Hailey working the sidearm. Kind of carrying that left side OB just a little bit. Looks great.
Anywhere near the shade under this tree is great for an easy up and down.
Missy throwing 4 from way back here. Probably not trying to get too crazy. Or is she?
No, she's going crazy.
This is nuts. Like, this is so aggressive. Oh, man.
Man, that's going to be tough to tell when it went out of bounds last.
It looks like the spotter gave her a flag there. Doesn't look like the easiest approach.
Owen trying to get to the green. We know she's got it. An anti-skip, flirts with out of bounds, but she is putting for birdie.
A lot of shrugs from Owen today. Mm-hmm. This is a tricky backhand shot. You can see these trees right in the way. You got to keep it low and either push OB right or push like through the gap in the middle, and both are risky. Raven gonna drop OB.
Missy finally throwing a pure shot, not towards out of bounds. And that's how this hole is. If you haven't taken a 9 on hole 8, you haven't lived.
Hailey's 4th. Leaves it a little wide. She'll be about 25 feet or so. Looking at largely a headwind putt. though it looks fairly calm right now.
Even with an unfortunate lie up against that tree, a very tricky approach, but she makes good. She'll find herself inside the circle. A bit of work left to do.
Here's Owen for birdie. Wow, dead calm on the green. Nice putt.
This was the most difficult hole of the day with only 2 birdies, 77% of the field with a bogey or worse. Wow. Par gained strokes on people.
Oh, man. Good looking putt from Raven. Catches the pole left side and spits out.
Man, those stats blow my mind. Although this is a very difficult win for this hole.
Mm-hmm.
Hailey coming up low on the cage, not quite able to get him into the chains.
Missy for a double OB7. Oof. What are you going to do?
Only 1 person got to circle 1 in regulation, only 2 into circle 2. Oh, gosh. This hole worked, everyone.
Yeah, as it does.
It does. Hopefully we have a better wind on it tomorrow or we learn some lessons quickly.
This is one where you're like, maybe I just throw a mid on every shot. Paige Shue has gone 5 putters to par it multiple times. I've seen that play. Respect. Owen with another birdie is 3 down, leading the field. Rebecca Cox, Emily Beach, and Lucky Lorenzen at 2 down through 8.
Wrapping up the front 9 with this very difficult par 5. You have to shoot this very long, narrow gap out into this very narrow area surrounded by OB in the cart path and a newly added out of bounds line on the right-hand side in the woods line. No scrambling allowed. You're just out of bounds. Your second shot has to get up to the top of this hill. If you have a huge tee shot, you can wrap the corner a little bit and maybe be able to see the basket on your third shot. But a lot of times players can't maybe see this basket as they approach the very well-guarded green. We're going to do a quick check-in with Lucky.
I like this hole.
Me too. It's so fun.
And they've kind of cleared out this beginning area a lot. This hillside used to be a little bit more treacherous. It's a little bit more open on this first shot.
What a nice smooth shot from Lucky. You don't have to get aggressive here because in reality to get a birdie, you just need to get up to the top of the hill. But
she's going aggressive here, though.
Yeah, she is.
Oof.
Blind around the corner. The OB bubbles out, so you do have some room to land.
Oh, wow.
Dang, she went huge.
Yeah, that's so far. Able to just jump putt approach from, 110 feet maybe?
And that
Easy
is a
birdie.
No-nonsense birdie.
I don't know. That second shot was some nonsense.
It was. Some perfect nonsense.
Yeah, usually you do just see the layup to the corner. That was crazy. Owen, I believe, with her pig late release here, that is, in danger. She's going to proceed to the drop zone where it is possible to save a par. Oh, Hailey, same mistake.
And with
it's lucky, though.
Yeah, nice friendly kick out of the woods. Missy a little early, but that is fine here. If you're going to make a mistake, that's the one to make nice and low. It doesn't have time to get to that out of bounds on the left-hand side.
This was a tailwind, I believe, so kind of stabling your disc out, pushing it towards that OB. This looks really good from Raven.
So good. That's so far.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't quite tell it was a tailwind until you walked around to where your disc lands. In the woods, you couldn't really feel it. But then you get out.
You can feel it here.
Yep, you get out here, and it is raging.
Owen with a lot of flex on this thing. It needs to get some lucky ground play. It does not. We'll see where they give it. I don't know that it ever crossed in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Ouch. That is a pretty rough break. Owen still getting pretty aggressive here, and it's a nice skip.
Thank goodness for that little Annie skip because that OB comes up so fast on the corner.
See how much of the corner that Hailey decides to wrap here.
Super smart play.
Yeah, love that.
She'll be able to see probably the top of the basket. Maybe a little more. Missy probably just following suit.
Use it just a little shorter than you want. Mm-hmm. It's more of a blind turnover shot from there versus Hailey will be able to see it, as Madison said. Raven with one of the best shots I've ever seen off the tee. She went grace, so really aggressive, able to throw a nice little baby flexing shot, similar to where Lucky landed. That's great. With how much they've brought the OB in on this corner, which is the typical landing zone, and how much it opens up where we've seen Raven and Lucky land, I understand the desire to get aggressive off the tee.
Totally. The risk reward is there.
Yeah.
Missy with
What a shot.
Yeah, with an amazing blind shot around the corner, up and over.
Thank you. Thank you. No big deal.
This green slopes downhill behind the basket. There's not out of bounds, but it just gets tricky with putting, so you don't want to come in super hot.
There is OB, I think, left and right, though, just not behind it, really. Hailey with a really nice forehand approach. Own throwing 6 after the double OB, double drop zone. Pretty punishing. Good recovery.
Yeah, great approach. A quarter of the field birdied this hole, 10 people, 13 getting to circle 1 in regulation.
Raven leaves her third short.
Oh, we've all done that on this hole. It's very frustrating.
Especially with 2 such good initial shots. Oh, nice.
Wow.
All right, no problem. Good focus with that highway right there, too.
Yeah, this is a noisy green.
Yeah, you have to yell to hear each other.
Very loud, very pretty.
What'd you say? Nothing like being in the woods.
Yeah. Hailey with a birdie, finally. Yay.
She finds herself under par.
Missy with a great recovery.
Now also moves to 1 under. And looking at a 3-way tie here on the feature card, Own taking the double, moving from 3 down to 1 down to wrap up the front. Raven with a 6 over, playing most of the holes well, but just having a couple of rough ones.
Yeah, and that's can happen on really any hole out here with the wind, just a misread. Lucky 3 down is pretty solid for the front 9. Sometimes we'll see some hotter scores coming in on the first 9 holes, but everyone's a little tired right now.
Yeah.
We've had 2 events and a major leading up to this week.
Rebecca Cox and Hannah win 2 down. We got some of our feature card ladies still hanging in their own, and Hailey in a tie for 4th, and Missy.
But top 10, you got to be even par or better. We have a huge tie right now. Not a lot of scoring separation happening, which is a little bit surprising. But the back 9 is where that will start happening. So
can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Please come hang out with us on the back in round 1 at the DDO. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the 2 Hot Geese.
Honk.